I have always been proud to call the south of France home, but now that I've fully experienced Normandy, I would not mind calling here home. To say that Normandy blew away our expectations would be the understatement of the year, and it's not just because there is a lot to see and do, it's that the variety of things to do means there are many different elements to explore. One of the best parts about Normandy is that it is typically 10 degrees cooler than the south of France, making it much more comfortable than the Mediterranean during summer. And unlike Spain, Greece, and Italy that are all protesting to curb mass tourism, Normandy, just like the rest of France, is still welcoming tourists with open arms. So let's dive right into the top 10 things you absolutely have to experience when coming here to visit. Kicking things off, there is no better place to start than the Mont-Saint-Michel, considering this is the second most visited attraction in all of France just after the Eiffel Tower. I don't know if it's just me, but I cannot shake the feeling that this looks like the intro to a Disney movie, and this is why 2.7 million visitors come here every year to experience one of the most epic islands in the entire world. You can either take the free shuttle bus or do the beautiful 2-kilometer walk from the parking lot, but regardless of what you choose, it is going to be busy. But at the end of the day, it is really not that big of a deal because just look at this place. And the crown jewel up top, the abbey, you have to book in advance, so get your tickets before you arrive. Otherwise, they are not going to let you in. You can get reduced rates after 5 o'clock. This is what it looks like at about 7:30 p.m. And the price of admission is well worth it. As you can imagine, around every corner there is something beautiful to see. My favorite thing from up here is watching the tides come in. In Normandy, they have the second largest tides in the world with coefficients up to 15 meters, and you can see with your own eyes the wave of water coming in when it's going from low tide to high tide. It would be a shame to come to Normandy and not go see the Mont-Saint-Michel, and the biggest tip I can give you is enjoy it at sunset and sunrise, picnic areas with those Disney intro vibes. This was by far our favorite part of the whole experience, where you can enjoy the peace and quiet before the shenanigans of midday start. Up next are the twin heavyweight villages of Deauville and Trouville, which are the destination of choice for Parisians to come and enjoy the Atlantic during summer. These twin villages are two sides of the same coin and each have their own unique things to offer. Deauville is definitely the more glamorous, glitzy side of the two, where you can spend lots of money on 5-star hotels and $1,000 handbags if you're into that type of thing. This is also where you're going to find the racetrack, which is super huge in Normandy. You will find hippodrome in almost every village around because horse racing here is a big part of the culture. If you have limited self-control with your credit card and don't want to spend too much, it's best to head on over to Trouville. Every year, there is a free aviation show that you can check out from the beach. This was a super happy accident that we ended up there on the exact day. You even get to see the Patrouille de France flying above head, an absolute must if you're there during July. The cornerstone of Trouville are by far the Belle Époque villas that line the beach, and this is where I would imagine the Great Gatsby of France lives. I think they call him Gaston over here. Just look at this boulevard that lines the beach, a perfect spot to come and enjoy the architecture just on the other side of Deauville. One of the great things about these two villages is that there is a centralized train station that has a direct link with direct trains to Paris, so you can pick up tickets for about 30 euros a piece, which makes Deauville and Trouville a perfect jump-off point if you're coming from that direction. This next one is a mixed bag of emotions for reasons that I hopefully don't have to explain to you. And although the idea of war and visiting cemeteries isn't always the happiest choice for a vacation destination, it is humbling to see where these battles took place and to be able to visualize a fraction of the loss and victory that occurred on these beaches. You can see World War II relics in museums all around the world, bunkers up and down the French coast, but seeing the battlefields and the cemeteries with your own eyes is just something else, and the two major D-Day sites of Ohmaha Beach and Utah Beach are easily the two most notorious from World War II. At Ohmaha Beach, you will find the American Cemetery, which is arguably one of the most impressive cemeteries in the entire world. Almost 10,000 soldiers are buried here with marble crosses that mark them in perfect straight lines, monuments that are dedicated to the victory of D-Day that all overlook Point Zero where the battle took place. All I can really say about it, it is impressive, it is humbling, and my hat is off to France for not trying to profit off of this. It is 100% free to go check out this cemetery. Utah Beach is just next door and only about 35 minutes by car. There are monuments here to check out, as well as museums full of World War II relics and vehicles. I wouldn't say you need to dedicate much more than half a day to go visit these two beaches, unless you're a huge history buff. Personally, after seeing the killing fields in Cambodia, I lost my appetite for seeing places of war. However, I was pleasantly surprised by how I felt after seeing these two D-Day landing sites. Up next is the city where the English burned Joan of Arc alive, which is another happy thing you can try to explain to your kids. Rouen is the capital of Normandy and sits 45 minutes away from the Atlantic Ocean and is home to the tallest and, as you'll see shortly, arguably most impressive cathedral in France. This medieval city is littered with 35 churches, abbeys, and monasteries mixed in among the beautiful half-timbered buildings. If you only have time to visit one city in Normandy, Rouen is definitely that city because it is jam-packed full of history and has many different styles of architecture to explore. You can check out the spot where Joan of Arc was burned alive and still see the scars of World War II, but most importantly, you can see how Rouen is moving forward and adding a touch of today's technology with the history of the past. If you guys are enjoying this video so far, make sure to subscribe to Planet Lens if you haven't already. Make sure to hit that like button to help our small but mighty channel continue to grow. And now it's time I spill the beans on the best gem in all of Normandy, and that is the Cathédrale de Lumière light show that happens every night during summer, where they transform the Rouen Cathedral into one of the best free light shows you will ever see. And I can't overstate that enough. This show is just on another level. You cannot miss this if you're heading up to Rouen. Now, on the coast, if you're in the market to see one of the most beautiful cliffs in all of Europe, then Étretat is another place you do not want to miss. If there is a more beautiful beach than this in France, we have yet to find it, and I'm sorry to the guys on the other side of the channel. I've seen the cliffs of Dover, but these ones are just much more beautiful, and one of the reasons for that are these beautiful arches. After the Mont-Saint-Michel, Étretat is easily the most photogenic area in Normandy, and if you want to get these arches well lit, make sure to come in the afternoon because in the morning they're in the shade. You see, Monet didn't have YouTube videos like this to explain to him when to come. You can see he's got the shadow in his painting. And one of my favorite parts is the cherry on top, and that's the golf course. But my hat is off that they didn't build it right up to the edge. As you can see here, there's a trail that goes from the village all the way around the golf course, so you can have unobstructed views of the cliff without golfers in your way. I mean, just look at this. I know I say that a lot, but like, this just absolutely dropped our jaws on the ground. A fighter jet at the same time while we're doing the reveal. Normandy just was firing on all cylinders. And we are always excited to put together these videos, but Normandy was one we just couldn't wait for. We put it together immediately once we were finished. And when you see shots like this, you can understand why. The fishing village of Honfleur is easily the most beautiful in all of Normandy. We really look forward to coming here, and you can see in this shot why it is just on another level of beautiful. If you want to get shots like this, morning is the time to come when the bay is lit up. The Normandy Bridge connects Honfleur to Le Havre, and it is well worth the €6 because the detour around it is going to cost you an extra 60 kilometers and about an hour's worth of time. If you want a little bonus to your visit, try to come here on Friday because the market goes throughout the entire town where you can see the best of Normandy on full display. Just make sure to have cash on hand because some of the merchants are old school and they don't want to pay tax or credit card fees. Also, be mindful of how much and what kind of seafood you buy because a lot of sharks are killed in the area. I don't want to sound like a Karen, but I gotta say my piece. I think they actually call it a Darren when it's a man. Karen or Darren, this is why we're sharing because Honfleur is really on point. You can see the greenery and parks that surround the village. You cannot go wrong with a stopover in Honfleur. Next up is the beachside town of Cabourg that sits only 25 kilometers away from Deauville and Trouville, and it is home to the longest pedestrian promenade in all of Europe, coming in at 3.6 kilometers long. If you're looking to go to the beach, Cabourg is the place to come, and just like the rest of the Normandy, the tides here are massive, and the beach gets much wider at low tide and can push up all the way to the pedestrian promenade that you see here at high tide. As a major beach destination, the casino and the hotel are the heart of town, and here you're going to find all kinds of classic old school beach huts where you can just sit back, relax, and enjoy the day. This is really cool if you happen to be here at low tide and there's some wind to see the guys do some sailing without a boat. And this was the best surprise, was to see the guys training the horses for the racetrack. You can see them down here with their chariots on. And when you look to the back, you can see it really isn't that busy. This was filmed during July. A fantastic place to head down to the beach. This next one on the list is by far the largest, and that is the Cotentin Peninsula, which is where you're going to get to see a little bit of all the natural environments that Normandy has to offer. If you check tide tables, this road on the right side of the screen is completely submerged at high tide when the coefficient is high enough, so this is where you can see the full force of the Norman tides. When they're low, you will see all around the coast these oyster and mussel farms, and you cannot do better than eating oysters and mussels in Normandy. It doesn't get any fresher than this. What's nice about the Cotentin Peninsula is that it has 3 distinct sides. It's got an east, a west, and a north, so you get a whole bunch of different looks at sunrise and sunset. Like I said, these oyster farms are scattered all around, and they're usually close to a beautiful village. On the east coast, you have 2 that you gotta go check out. One is Saint-Vaast-la-Hougue. You can see what I'm talking about here with the oyster farms that come right up to the beach. You got a beautiful lighthouse to go check out in the top right corner and a very nice port to go explore. Then you got Barfleur, which is one of the plus beaux villages de France. And the cherry on top is that they're very close to some of the most beautiful lighthouses in the Atlantic Ocean, where you can just chill back, relax, watch those waves splash, and feel happy you're not on a boat when it's rough conditions out there. Then up in the north, you're going to find Port Cean, which is the smallest port in all of France. You can see you can't fit too many boats inside, but it is a very beautiful place to go check out and get a few photos. And then just beside that, you have Cherbourg, which used to be home of the largest breakwater in the world. This is where those big ferries come in. The Titanic has even been in here on its only voyage, and there were 24 people who got off the boat who were probably thinking that visiting Cherbourg was the best decision they've ever made. Cotentin Coast is an amazing coast, and once you get down the west side, you come across Granville, and you can tell just by the color of this water that it is a city that is well worth visiting. It is not a city, however, where you would expect people to be paragliding, but these guys just catch thermals in the afternoon, and they're pretty cool to watch because they fly above the pools, above the beaches that are found on the west side of town, so you're going to want to come here in the afternoon if you want to get some sunshine What's really cool about Normandy is we saw them all up and down the coast are these little diving platforms that you can jump from when the tide is at the right height where you won't break your neck. The Cotentin Peninsula was by far our favorite region in all of Normandy, and this video only looks at the best places, so if you want to get a deeper look at Normandy, make sure to check out our video navigating Normandy after this. Last but not least is this city of Caen, and I guarantee you there is no roundabout in all of Normandy that is more beautiful than this one. And that really does say a lot because Caen got absolutely demolished during World War II. They did a fantastic job rebuilding it, and today it is the center of all the D-Day and World War II museums, so you gotta come check it out if you're in the market to see some war memorabilia. A beautiful pedestrian street that passes through the center of town, which we always love, that brings you towards the Chateau de Caen, which you can go up top and walk on the ramparts for free. At the end of the day, guys, Normandy is a region you just gotta go see for yourself. We didn't put these in any specific order because only a fool would try to do that. If you need an extra little kick to go, always remember, make sure to hit that subscribe button to get more top 10 videos like these.